Welcome back, dear learners. Today we are going to discuss the third part of this module week 3. That is, the part of this video is Jainism in education. In the earlier part of this video we have discussed on the Buddhist education system. Now we are going to discuss about the Jain education system, and at the end of this part of this video we are also going to evaluate again the Buddhist and the Jain educational system. So the name of this video is Jainism in education and evaluating Buddhist and Jain educational systems. So Jainism is one of the oldest living religions in the world. Is a heterodox school of Indian philosophy that emphasizes non-violence, truth and peaceful coexistence. It is an independent religion, not a branch of any other faith. This presentation explores the core principles of Jainism, its educational implications and its enduring relevance in the modern world. So in this part of video in this part you will come to know about what are the principles of Jainism and what its educational implications in the modern world. So Jainism it's a philosophy of non-violence and self-realization. The Jainist philosophy, they actually preach the philosophy of non-violence. They also support self-realization. So what was their core principles? The core principles of Jainism actually emphasizes the pursuit of liberation, that is nirvana, which we also got it in our Buddhist philosophy. So Jainism also they also believe in but they also go in the same path, that is they emphasize the pursuit of liberation, that is nirvana, through self-realization. It believes that knowledge, faith and conduct are essential for achieving this goal. So Jainism they maintain that if we want to get nirvana or liberation through self-realization, how we can get it? Through these three essential things, that is the knowledge, faith and conduct. And through these three things we can achieve the goal of nirvana in our life. In Jainism, the soul and matter is the important concept. So, what is the soul and matter in Jainism philosophy? So Jainism views the universe as eternal and uncreated, composed of soul. Soul means jiva, and jiva, that means the things which have life, and non-living matter, that is ajiva. The soul is inherently perfect, but obstacles hinder its perfection. So, in Jainism, the core principle is to get nirvana through self-realization. And how we can get the self-realization? Through knowledge, faith and conduct. And the other thing which matter is the soul and matter. That means Jainism believes in the living and both non-living things. They mention that universe is actually composed of jiva and ajiva, the non-living matters and the souls, that is the atma, that is jiva, that is living being. So it comprises the whole universe. Again, what are the values and right knowledge propounded by the philosophy of Jainism? So what Jainism emphasizes? They emphasizes 5 vows. There are 5 values of Jainism. What are that? Non-killing means ahimsa, truth, satya, non-stealing, asatya, non-possessing, aparigraha, and virtuous life, brahmacharya. So actually the Jainism philosophy or the philosophy of Jain, they propounded 5, they emphasizes on these 5 values. And what are that? They are ahimsa, satya, astaya and aparigraha and brahmacharya. That means non-killing, truth, non-stealing, non-possessing, and having a virtuous life. So if a person have these 5 values, they can attain nirvana in life. And what is right knowledge emphasized by Jainism? So Jainism believes that ignorance is the root of suffering and right knowledge is the path to liberation. The 3 jewels of Jainism. Jainism, actually they mentioned that they have 3 jewels. What are they? They are right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. So these 3 are the 3 jewels of Jainism, the philosophy of Jainism. Next is what actually the educational system of Jainism includes. What are the educational principles of Jainism? So what is the first is the aim of education. So what is the aim of education according to Jain philosophy? So Jainism emphasizes self-realization as the ultimate aim of education. So why, according to Jainism, why we educate ourselves? To self-realize. Actually, the ultimate aim of education is to self-realize that whatever we do, whatever we know, and whatever we get the knowledge, we acquire the knowledge, that is through self-realization. So that should be the ultimate aim of education as per Jain philosophy. So it seeks to develop a complete individual with physical, intellectual, moral, and spiritual well-being. Again, the education system of Jainism also mention about preservation of culture. So how they may do the preservation of culture? So Jainism recognizes the importance of preserving and enriching cultural heritage. So at what they mentioned, that education actually enable individuals to understand and contribute to the shared heritage. That means whatever the culture we have, we should understand it and we should preserve it. Then we can contribute it through sharing the heritage. So that is the important point mentioned by Jain system of education. Again, the education system also emphasizes on one important thing, that is moral development. So Jainism emphasizes the development of a strong moral sense. So education, according to them, education should help individuals distinguishing right from wrong and cultivate a love for good and to remove the evil. So the education system actually should cultivate, so that will be the moral development of a human being as per Jainism philosophy, that to cultivate a love for good. Every people should be a good person as per Jainist philosophy by removing and have a hatred for evil. So that is the main philosophy behind educational philosophy behind Jainism. So the aims of education is what that is to realization, self-realization, and they also emphasizes on preservation of culture, and the most important thing they mentioned that there should be moral development. The education should emphasizes on moral development, and how? By cultivating the love for good and hatred for evil. Again, the Jainism education system of Jainism also mention about inventive powers. So now what is the inventive power? Whether a person could invent something. So the Jainism actually emphasizes on inventive powers of human being. So you see that what they mentioned, that Jainism encourages the development of inventive and creative power. See, we all have some creativity inside us. So how we come to know? If we get proper environment, proper culture, proper developmental time, then we can be a creative person. So education actually in Jainism emphasizes on that developmental aspect, which helps a human being to be creative, to be inventive. So According to Jain education system, the education should empower individual to change and modify their environment according to their needs. So they can develop, they can be creative with the help of the education system provided by Jain philosophy. Again, Jainism, the educational system of Jainism or the Jain philosophy, they also emphasizes on simple living. That is also similar to that of Buddhist education, is it? So, what they mention about simple living? Jainism promotes simple living and high thinking. So, according to them, education should aim at training the mind to control itself and overcome desires and passions. So, the Jainist system of education always emphasizes on simple living. Then being a complete human being, that is a complete man. So Jainism believes that education should aim at developing a complete individual with what are the aspects? How can a human being can be a complete human being? By these points like physical, intellectual, moral, spiritual, emotional and cultural well-being. So overall, what we can say, how a human being can develop? By overall development of the human being, including the aspect like physical, intellectual, moral, spiritual, emotional and cultural well-being. So this is the thing which are included in the Jain philosophy or the educational system of Jainism. Again, what are the curriculum of the Jain system? Actually, what it includes? So, Jainism believes that the curriculum should be based on learner's environment and should include both material and spiritual aspects. It also emphasizes on multi-dimensionality. So the curriculum as per Jain education system should cater to the multi-dimensionality of personality encompassing intellectual, aesthetic, moral and religious aspects. So you see there are different aspects which are included in the curriculum of Jainism. So what are the aspects? That is intellectual, aesthetic, moral and religious. Again, the Jainism also emphasizes on one thing, that is spiritual environment. Emphasizes the importance of spiritual development, but it also recognizes the need for knowledge of the material world. The fourth point, that is the Jain education system follows, is what? That is physical education. Jainism believes that physical education is essential for overall well-being, and that the study of natural sciences is important for understanding the material world. So now you see how the Jain education system is also related to our modern world. See, you see the multi-dimension. Yes, at present also our educational system also encompasses the multi-dimensionality of personality, that is intellectual, aesthetic, moral. So it is related to our modern world. So most important thing is the physical education. Physical education is how much important in the modern world. So the philosophy which was propounded so earlier, the Jain philosophy, has also very much related to our modern education system. Now, the Jainism, what are the things actually the Jainism includes? They include in the curriculum of Jainism, they include spiritual development, they include art, literature, ethics. See the pyramid which we have provided here, there all the subjects related to the Jain education system is mentioned. Like philosophy, religion, psychology, and most important, they also preferred music. So Jainism emphasizes the subject like art, literature, ethics, philosophy, religion, psychology, and music for spiritual development. So how the first pyramid, you see the First pyramid is spiritual development. They mention about spiritual development and how it can be propounded or how it can be nourished according to the Jainist philosophy through music. So they prefer music for spiritual development. So this subject actually helps to cultivate the soul and expand one's understanding beyond the material world. So next, the Jainism. What are the things as per Jain educational philosophy includes? They includes non-violence, they include self-realization, they include knowledge and conduct. So what is the part of non-violence in Jain education system? So Jainism core principle of non-violence is ahimsa. We all know that is ahimsa, which extends to all living beings. It emphasizes compassion, respect for all, and peaceful coexistence. So when there will be compassion, respect for all, and peaceful environment, yes, there will be non-violence everywhere. So this was the philosophy propounded by Jainism. Next is self-realization, which we have discussed in the earlier slides. That is how to gain self-realization. What are the things that can help in the achieving the ultimate goal of self-realization? So Jainism's ultimate goal of self-realization, which involves freeing the soul from the cycle of birth and death and attaining liberation, that is nirvana. Next is knowledge and conduct. So Jainism emphasizes the importance of right knowledge and right conduct for achieving liberation. It believes that knowledge alone is not enough and that ethical behavior is essential. So these are the things which are included in the Jain philosophy. So Jainism actually enduring message of what? Non-violence, compassion and self-realization continues to inspire people around the world. It emphasizes on ethical conduct, knowledge and spiritual development. It offers a timeless path to a more just and peaceful world. Now, what are the methods of teaching? So as for now, we are discussing about the Jain educational system. What the education actually aims to. What is the ultimate goal of education? But how actually this education is given to the students, is given to the learners. So what is the method of teaching in Jainism? So the teaching through senses. So Jainism promotes a multi-sensory approach to learning, incorporating visual, auditory and tactile elements. This method encourages active engagement and deeper understanding of concepts. So the first method of teaching in Jainism is teaching through senses. Next is tolerance and social harmony. Emphasizing tolerance and social responsibility is also one of the methods of teaching in Jainism. So Jain education fosters a sense of community and mutual respect among learners. This focus on interconnectedness encourages empathy and ethical conduct. So another method of teaching in Jainism is action-based learning. Jainism advocates for practical application of knowledge through real-world experience. This experiential learning approach reinforcement theoretical concepts and cultivates a sense of purpose. So these are the methods of teaching actually used in the Jain philosophy to teach their philosophy to the students. So how they teach? Used to teach through teaching through senses, through our sense organs, through tolerance and social harmony, and through action-based learning. So what are the merits? See, when we discuss any philosophy, when we discuss any kind of philosophy, we know when we critically analyze any philosophy, we have the merits and demerits of that educational philosophy. Similarly, there are also merits and demerits of the Jain education system. So what are the merits of Jain education system? First is the inclusiveness. So Jain education prioritizes inclusivity, offering access to knowledge regardless of social background. This commitment to equal opportunity ensures that all individuals can benefit from the transformative power of education. So, the first point which the Jain education system emphasizes is inclusiveness. Then again, the Jain education system was residential education. It was residential by nature. So Jainism emphasizes residential education where students and teachers live together, fostering a strong sense of community and shared learning experiences. This immersive environment enhances holistic development. So we came to know from this that one of the merit of Jain education is inclusiveness. They promote access knowledge to everyone irrespective of any social background. Again, they provide residential education. They always believe that living together, understanding together, taking the knowledge together will foster a strong sense of community and shared learning experiences. Then they also have comprehensive curriculum. So Jain education embraces a holistic curriculum integrating both natural and spiritual knowledge. So this approach recognizes the interconnectedness of all aspects of human being. So they have also the comprehensive curriculum. So as among the merits, what are the things we have discussed here? So one is inclusiveness. One is residential education, another is comprehensive curriculum. Next is the demerits of Jain education. So when we go to analyze critically any philosophy, we will get the merits and demerits. So what are the demerits of Jain education again? It emphasizes on spiritual education. So this is one of the demerits as per Jain education. While emphasizing the importance of spiritual development, Jain education may sometimes overemphasizes it and expands of secular knowledge. This can limit exposure to the diverse field of study. So this is also one of the limitations or demerits of Jain education. Another is avoidance of military training. So due to its principles of non-violence, see this also we have got in our Buddhist philosophy also. So similar in the Jain philosophy, as both the philosophy they emphasizes on non-violence. So what happened? The principle of non-violence avoid the military training. So Jain education typically avoids military training. This stance, while rooted in ethical principles, can limit career options in certain fields. So, a comparative perspective of Buddhist, if we go to comparative analysis of both Buddhist and Jain education, let us have a look on the Buddhist education system. What is included in Buddhist education system? Then only we can compare both this is just a kind of recapitulation to make a comparative study or comparative analysis of Buddhist and Jain education. If we want to evaluate both the system of education, we must have a look over the Buddhist education system. So what actually the Buddhist education system mention? They mention on purity of character. They mention about monasteries as a center of learning. They also had structured curriculum. See, what's the purity of character? Buddhism emphasizes moral purity as a core principle of education. This focus on ethical conduct guides students towards a life of compassion and mindfulness. Again, monasteries as centers of learning. They always emphasize the Buddhist monastery as an educational institute, where monks receive comprehensive training in both religious and secular subjects. Structured curriculum. Buddhist education follows a structured curriculum with distinct stages of learning spanning over 2 decades, culminating in advanced spiritual practice. So these are the three things which are there in if we go to the comparative analysis of or if we go to review the to give a comparative analysis of both Buddhist and Jainist education, so we must know about the Buddhist education. So these are the things which are included in Buddhist education, and what were the methods of teaching actually included in Buddhism. One is the lecture and question answer method, discussion and conferences, meditations and evidence. So what again we are just a recapitulation we are doing here in this part, as we have already discussed in the Buddhist philosophy in the earlier videos, but let's have a look on what are the methods of teaching emphasized by Buddhism. That is, Buddhist education utilizes the traditional methods like lectures, question answer sessions and debates to facilitate learning and critical thinking. They emphasizes on discussions and conferences. Group discussions and conferences are integral part of Buddhist education, fostering collaborations, sharing insight, and fostering a sense of community. Again, meditation and evidence. Meditation practices plays a key role in Buddhist education, promoting inner peace, mindfulness, and the ability to discern truth from falsehood. So these are the methods of teaching emphasized by Buddhism. Now, what is the Jain education system? What they follows? We came to know about the Buddhist education system. Now, let's have a look on the Jain education system, what they propound to get a holistic development. So, they propound on non-violence and forgiveness. Jain education emphasizes non-violence and forgiveness as a fundamental principles, promoting a compassionate and peaceful approach to life. Next, universal values. Jain education draws upon universal values, promoting ethical conduct, self-reflection, and the pursuit of truth and wisdom. Again, Anekantavada and Siddhavada. The Jain concept of Anekantavada, that is non-absolutism, and Siddhavada, that is the theory of manifold aspects of reality, offered a nuanced and comprehensive perspective on truth and knowledge. So this is the pathway. These are the things through which Jain education follow the holistic development. Now there are also challenges and opportunities of Jain education system. Let's have a look on the challenges and opportunities for Jain education. So what are the challenges and opportunities? The balancing traditional and modern approaches. Jain education needs to find a balance between preserving its rich tradition while embracing modern educational methods and technology. It promotes relevance in a globalized world. It's essential to connect Jain principle with contemporary issues and challenges, making the teaching relevant to the wider audience. Enhancing accessibility and outreach. Expanding accessibility to Jain education through online platform, workshops and communities, initiatives can ensure its reach and impact. So, as a whole, what we can say about the Jain education system, that it offers a unique and valuable contribution to the global discourse on education. It emphasizes on non-violence, universal values, and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment, continues to inspire generations by embracing its core principles, adapting to contemporary needs, and expanding its outreach. Jain education can play a vital role in fostering a more peaceful, compassionate, and enlightened world. So from here, we have discussed in this part of our video, in this entire video, we came to know about the Jain education system. What is it? What are its core principles? What actually the soul and matter as per Jainism? Then what are the values of Jainism? What are the right knowledge of Jainism? What actually the Jain education system, what are the aims of education, how they preserve culture, how they get the moral development, then how inventive power is important as per Jain philosophy, how simple living is important as per Jain philosophy, and how a complete development of human being takes place through the education system propounded by Jainism. We have also discussed here about the curriculum system of Jain education system, and we tried to relate the Jain education system with the Buddhist education system. We have also came to know about the methods of teaching of Jainism here, how the teaching takes place in Jainism, then the merits of Jain education system, about the demerits of Jain education system, and through the comparative analysis we came to know how Buddhist education system provide education to the learners, and again how Jain education system takes a path towards holistic development, and what are the challenges and opportunities of Jain education system. So this is the overall part of this video. Thank you, and let's have a look on the small video which will complete the entire philosophy, that is the Buddhist and Jain philosophy of education. Thank you.
Jainism is an ancient Indian religion belonging to the Sramana tradition. It prescribes ahimsa, non-violence, towards all living beings to the greatest possible extent. The three main teachings of Jainism are ahimsa, anekantavada, non-absolutism, aparigraha, non-possessiveness. Followers of Jainism take 5 main vows: ahimsa, satya, not lying; asteya, non-stealing; brahmacharya, chastity; and aparigraha. Monks follow them completely, whereas sravakas, householders, observe them partially. Self-discipline and asceticism are thus major focuses of Jainism. Before Common Era BCE. 584,979 to 574,979 BCE. Naminatha, 21st Tirthankara. Naminatha, 22nd Tirthankara. According to Jain beliefs, he lived 84,650 years before the 23rd Tirthankara, Parshvanatha. He existed in the Mahabharata era and was the cousin brother of Krishna. 877 to 777 BCE, Parshva, 23rd Tirthankar of Jainism. He is the earliest Jain leader who can be reliably dated. 599 to 527 BCE, Mahavira, 24th and last Tirthankar of this era. 5th century BCE, Sadasan Diwakar. d. 507 BCE, Ganahar Sudharma Swami. d. 357 BCE, Acharya Bhadrabahu. d. 162 BCE, Hathigumpha inscription mentions the Namokar mantra and Jain monarch Karvela. 2nd century BCE, Namokar mantra epigraphically attested in Maharashtra. Common Era CE. 1st century CE, Acharya Kunkand. 87 CE, Pushpadana starts to write Shakandagam. 156 CE, Acharya Buddhabali completes writing of Shakandagam. 454 CE, Devardigani compiles Jain Agamas. 5th century CE, first mention of the Mula Sang order. Middle Ages. 9th century. The Tirumalai complex in Tamil Nadu is established. 10th century. Life of Nemikandra, a famous Jain author. Jain temple of Gurjiwada, Kudnam, Baikolam, Goa was constructed. 982, monolithic statue of Bahubali erected at Shravana Belagola. 12th century. Kashtha Sang. 1172, Acharya Hemachandra. 1194, Trastutik. 13th century. 1229, Tapa Gacha. 15th century. Ancient Jain temple of Gurjiwada, Kudnam, Baikolam, Goa was in ruins. 17th century. 1664, Digambar Tarapanth. 1658, Digambara Jain Lal Mandir temple in Delhi built. 18th century. 1760, Swedambar Tarapanth. 1780, Stanakvasi and Tarapanthi orders. British India 1868, Jain Temple in Mumbai 1880s, Reform Movement of Acharya Rajendrasuri 1893, Virachand Gandhi participates in Chicago's World Parliament of Religions and won silver medal, 1904, Jain Temple at the Louisiana Purchase Exposition 1926, birth of Acharya Sushil Kumar 1927, Madras High Court in Gatepa v. Arama and others recognizes Jainism as a distinct religion. 1946, Acharya Sri Vidyasagarji Maharaj, born the 10th of October 1946. Post-partition 1968, Acharya Vidyasagar initiated as a Digambara monk by Acharya Gyansagar at Ajmer, 1970s, significant presence of Jainism in the United States 1972, Acharya Sri Vidyasagar Ji Maharaj elevated to the Acharya status. 1975, monolithic statue of Bahubali is installed at Dharmasthala, Karnataka, India under the auspices of D. Ratnavarma Hegade and Mathrishri D. Rathnama Hegade, members of Dharmasthala's Jaina lineage who also manage the local Shaivite temple. Carving work began in 1966 under the sculptor Rahala Gopalkrishna Shenoy of Karkala, 1976, in Arya Samaj Education Trust, Delhi and others v. The Director of Education, Delhi Administration, Delhi and others Air 1976 Delhi 207, the court referred to Heinrich Zimmer's Philosophies of India describing Jainism as a heterodox Indian religion and J. N. Farquhar's Modern Religious Movements in India describing Jainism as a rival of Hinduism, 1981, First Jain Convention in Los Angeles 1983, formal organization of Jain associations in North America 1990, Temple Pratishtha, the Jain Sang Cherry Hill, New Jersey 1990, Temple Pratishtha, Jain Society of Metropolitan Washington 1991, founding of Siddhachalam, the Jain Tirtha 1991, death of Jain Acharya Sri Ramchandra Sureshwarji 1993, Temple Pratishtha, Jain Society of Metropolitan Chicago 1995, Temple Pratishtha, Jain Center of Cincinnati and Dayton 1998, Temple Pratishtha, Jain Society of Greater Detroit 2000, Temple Pratishtha, Jain Center of Northern California JCNC 2000, Jain Vishwa Bharati Orlando 2005. The Supreme Court of India declined to grant Jains the status of a religious minority throughout India, leaving it to the respective states to decide on the minority status of Jainas. 2006, the Supreme Court opined that Jain religion is indisputably not a part of the Hindu religion. Para 25, Committee of Management Kanya Junior High School Bal Vidya Mandir, Edda, UPV. Sachiv, UP. Basic Shiksha Parishad, Allahabad, UP and Ors, per Dalveer Bhandari J., Civil Appeal No. 9595 of 2003, decided on 21st of August 2006, Supreme Court of India, 2008, Delhi City Government declares Jain community a minority per the Supreme Court orders, 2014, Jain community is designated a minority at the national level. See also Buddhism and Jainism, History of Jainism, Jain philosophy, Shramana, Timeline of Buddhism. Notes